And I knew I was gay from the time I could walk almost.
My options at that time in life were I had to grow old with a man.
I knew it. But I've had to hide it all that time.
I did not feel I had an option. And I certainly wasn't out, even to myself, when I was married.
I knew a fellow a million years ago who's i.e. in the 80s. Or maybe it was the early 90s, I can't remember. Anyway, his partner had died, and he wanted to put a little notice in the Toronto Star, but they wouldn't take a same-sex death notice.
Being gay in Canada was a criminal offense until 1969. You could be arrested for being gay. You wouldn't have to do anything.
And you never saw partners mentioned. Like, so-and-so dies, children, X, and then you put the spouse's name in brackets, but you would never see same sex. So the good thing was Extra at the time had pages of death notices.
Oh, God, yes.
I mean, good and bad, lots of people died, but they would publish it all. So that was at least the newspaper the community could use to report death notices.
I think that younger people don't understand what it was like, because I remember talking to someone not so long ago, and they were saying, "So can I ask, why did it take you so long to get married?" And we're going, because it wasn't legal.
Yeah.
And they were quite shocked that they lived in a province where up until 20 years ago, it wasn't legal to get married. If you were in love and in a committed relationship with someone of the same sex.
How did you meet your partner?
Through a wedding.
I met my partner at work. I used to work for a Meals on Wheels program on the Danforth.
We met each other at church, the Metropolitan Community Church.
I met Sherry at MCCT, and it was love at first sight.
Charles was a friend on the bride's side.
And she walked in the office, and I can't even explain it. It was just from the moment we locked eyes, there was this energy.
I looked in her eyes in church, and I said to my friend, "Oh, geez, I'm in trouble now."
So the wedding was in mid-August. Right after Labor Day weekend, I get a call from Charles. "Would you like to go out for dinner?" And basically, that's how it all started.
Every time I met her, I just have this feeling that I'd never felt before. But she was in a relationship, and, I wasn't touching that at the time.
Joe was dating a friend of mine. This is the story. This is how lesbians work. We all know this. The queer community, everybody knows everybody, and I don't know, maybe pickings are slim.
So eventually her relationship was over, and we decided to, we just connected, basically. Once I found out that her relationship was over, we were a couple within a week, I think. You know what they say, lesbians, on the second date they bring a moving van.
They broke up, and then we just got along really well. Like, we had the similar ideas of things, we had similar sense of humor.
We met at work.
Both of us were at the same dance together, which was the Mad Dance, Middle-Aged Dykes.
Then we had a meeting of everyone at that level, and this cranky woman walked in who was so mouthy, and I'm like, oh, I so have to chat with her. She's hilarious. Her best line was, "Why are we here? Why are we having this meeting?"
It was Pride weekend, June 21st, 1997, and I had went with another friend.
Let's say, come confess, she was there with another woman. Okay, yes.
We were friends.
Friends,
and,
yes, okay.
All of a sudden, YMCA came on.
We used to say we were stupid in love, and I can't even explain it. You meet somebody, and just the love and the feeling you have inside of you, it's different than anything I'd ever felt before.
I saw Rochelle and I thought she was the cutest little thing I'd ever seen. I still think she's the cutest little thing I've ever seen. And so I remember talking to my friend at the table, and I said, I'm not good at this. Like, what am I supposed to do? I said, that Rochelle, she's so cute. And she says, you go and you ask her to dance. So what I did was I crossed a crowded room, just like in an old movie, and there was a fast song that was playing. And just as I got to her and I asked her to dance, and she said yes, and we stood up, it turned into a slow dance, and the slow dance was, you've lost that loving feeling. So our song is, you've lost that loving feeling.
Which we did play at the wedding.
Which we played at the wedding too.
So we started dating August 15th, 1998.
I guess it was in 2006 when we officially hooked up. And we were a couple for about 3 months, and then she proposed to me.
Do you remember your first date with each other?
It was the mat dance, wasn't it? No, you had me come to your apartment, and yes, the night you cooked the salmon.
Yeah, it was the night I invited her to dinner at my apartment. And I know she's fussy about views. And I had a low balcony in the apartment building it overlooked the backyard of the building.
And the garbage.
So I made sure I threw blankets over the banister so that she couldn't see. And I cooked salmon and rice so she could enjoy the dinner without having to see the view she didn't like.
Lisa hated walking, as I found out much later. So at the time I was doing the Weekend to End Breast Cancer, which is a 60-kilometer walk.
So that impressed her no end. So it was a go after that because I'd made the effort.
Next thing I know, she joined my team to walk 60 kilometers. And she trained with us and she worked hard and she did the walk. And I found out much later that she hates walking. And I thought that was just hysterical that she would do all that just to win my heart.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Yeah. You thought it was blankets? That's what you thought you'd
Whatever it was.
I paid attention.
Mm-hmm.
It was tablecloths.
Oh, okay.
You had lined the balcony wall with beautiful multicolored floral tablecloths. It was stunning.
And that was at a time when she was still in another relationship trying to get out of it. And we were friends, I guess, at that point before we became a couple. It was just a funny story, but it was also a touching story that somebody would go that far to be with you.
That's definitely love.
Yeah, that's love for sure. I don't know if I'd do that for... No, I'm just kidding. I'd do it for her, but nobody else.
It was also new. I couldn't eat in front of her. You thought I enjoyed that meal? No. I just moved the food around my place. I was too shy. I was really, really shy. I had nothing to talk to you about. I didn't... It was hard for me.
Yeah, things have changed.
Was there sort of a moment when you knew there'd be a spark between you two?
Yeah, there definitely was. I had never been in a relationship with another man.
We're talking 1971. You had to be very confident within yourself to come out, even to yourself.
And I didn't know what the rules were, what you were supposed to do, how you were to react.
We just, would go occasionally out for dinner, that sort of thing.
And Peter made it very easy. He was affectionate, and I think he was understanding, knowing where I came from. I got married when I was 24 and had a wonderful marriage, wonderful wife, until cancer took her. We were together for 35 years, and after she passed, for 5 years, I went into a horrible spiral of grief and guilt. And it wasn't until I met Peter that I finally got out of that and realized, your life has changed and you've changed, and do what you want to do.
Although we saw each other, never put the word date to it.
And I was terrified. I didn't want to put the moves on him. And eventually the relationship became very personal.
It took about 3 years of this kind of dating that we finally sat down, and Charles was always the one that would bring things out. So he'd say to us, he says, we have to put a name to this.
And I'll be forever thankful and grateful for Peter's affection and loyalty and encouragement, even though I'm an old man.
We were at the Steak and Burger at Gerrard Square. Yeah, really. So finally, we came out to each other. And then we just took it slowly, and of course, couldn't tell family. So we just would go out together and stayed hidden for many years.
So when you first heard that the law on same-sex marriage in Canada had changed, what were your first reactions?
Hooray, we won!
Yay! We beat the government!
Yeah.
We were so happy.
We were sitting in a pew on the upper level at MCC, Metropolitan Church, and everyone in the church just went, wow! We jumped up, we sang, we danced in the aisles. It all happened when Brent Hawkes, the minister at the time, announced that same-sex marriage had been legal. And very good friends of ours are the first couple of women who were married. They're our buddies.
Brent calls Elaine in her office and says, would you be willing to be the ones to get married? So she calls me at the daycare where I was working at the time. And I'm, surrounded by rugrats. She says, Brent wants to know if we'll go first. She's like, sure, why not? Click.
We were picked up by a security detail in a big Yukon. And we brought our wedding clothes with us because we were going to the 11 o'clock service.
It was a Sunday, and so we had regular services in the morning at 9 and 11, and the weddings were in the afternoon.
And about every 2 or 3 minutes, ETA, 10 minutes.
Talking into his wrist.
Talking into his wrist the whole time.
Driving around the neighborhood.
And then when we got to the church, they opened up the door for us. So we got out, and there was a whole lineup of police officers from the sidewalk all the way to the door of the church.
Congratulating us,
as
but
we
they were there
walked.
for security.
They were there for security.
And so at the 11 o'clock service, a woman came rushing up to the front of the church during the service and was throwing these anti-gay pamphlets.
There was one protester in the morning service.
Yeah,
but that was
taken care of.
That was taken care of quickly. We were put in the boardroom in the basement after the service until the wedding service started, and somebody brought beef stew, and we had music, so we were comfortable.
The police came to me and said that they had uncovered a plot to kill me that day.
We didn't know that there was a bomb scare. We weren't told about it.
Thank goodness.
They didn't want us to freak out, of course.
Well, the night before, I called my family in New Brunswick, and I said, I love you, and if anything happens, please know that I love you.
Brent was wearing a bulletproof vest.
I had to wear a bulletproof vest. I had to have bodyguards.
And we didn't know about that either.
When people came, everybody had to be searched.
I remember when we first walked into the sanctuary from being in the basement, we were going up the side aisle so we could come down the middle aisle, and those 1,000 people just all stood up and applauded. It was wow.
Yeah.
The roar, it was incredible.
It was amazing.
There was a line, and then there was all these photographers. Like they said later, it was like 70 or 80 media
70
groups
or 80.
from around the world.
And they were swearing at each other, trying to get past each other.
Yeah.
Take pictures. You can hear them arguing.
Because there was some on the floor like this, and then standing up over each other trying
to get shots.
It was crazy. We were the first lesbian couple to get legally married in the world, not just Canada.
Here we are together.
Why was it important for you and Charles to get married?
To be counted.
Confirmation.
I think it was the acceptance of the situation that we loved each other. And that was the reason, I think. Well, not I think, I know it was the reason.
I'd say commitment.
That's an easy one. Love.
It wasn't important at all for me, but it was important to me because I'm going to say the word is going to be rights.
Once the judges gave us that right, we thought we had to be counted. We had to show the world that, our love was just as valid as the heterosexual love.
Just the legal aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Legalities.
People who are officially married have so many more rights than people who are living common law.
I was hesitant to get married. I was hesitant because I didn't want to sort of have to jump through society's hoops to be able to have my partner with me when I lie dying in the hospital or something like that.
And I know for me, I had a bit of a medical emergency before we were married. So when we had to call the ambulance, and poor Barb was running around looking for my power of attorney for the medical.
But as you said yourself, it's an age thing, isn't it? As we get older, that we need to have that security if we're hospitalized or anything like that. Yeah. Yeah, that was why. It was so that we would assure as we get older that we'll be in the same room in the nursing home in Vegas, right, babes?
That's there.
So by getting married, we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Saying that you're married is like the open sesame to rights, like as far as how people handle you in medical situations.
There are a lot of other reasons. As a gay woman, I never thought I'd get married. And to be honest, I wasn't really paying attention because I didn't have a partner, that sort of thing. However, when I met Lisa and fell in love with her, it was just a great way to tell the world that, we love each other, we want to spend the rest of our lives together. And there's also things like humanity and equality. I remember when Lisa went to pick up the marriage license because she worked close to City Hall, and she burst into tears. And the woman said, "What's wrong?" And she said, "I never thought I'd have the same rights as everybody else."
Oh, yes, our wedding album. We haven't seen it in a long time.
I know. Our little princess.
And there we are. And you're wearing my mother's wedding pearls. I don't think they were her wedding pearls. But
No, but they were her
They
pearls.
were her pearls.
When did you two get married?
We got married in, go ahead. You're much better at remembering than I am.
Yes, September the 24th, 2004.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The year after the law changed.
Mm-hmm.
The ruling was June. We got married the next month, July the 25th, 2003. So it would have been 20 years this year that we would have been married.
We got married on our 24th anniversary on the 17th of July this year.
A friend of ours had, they'd been together a very long time, and they called us the day the law changed and said, "We're getting married. We want you to be there." And I sort of turned to Rochelle and I said, "I think my goose is cooked. I think that this means we're getting married." It was supposed to be.
It was supposed to be in our backyard with dear friends, family, and Hawaiian shirts and a luau and just a wonderful party.
Mm-hmm.
And Barb had already been married once to a man. And basically she said, "Well, I've already been married. I'm leaving this one up to you." And I became the princess that I was.
Yeah.
We got married on Toronto Island.
Oh, the wedding itself was fantastic. So we picked 07, and we wanted to be in East York because this is our home.
And a local golden retriever came wandering in. Now, most of my friends are doggish people, so it was like, "Oh, it's a dog!" Pat, pat, pat. So the dog was very happy to get lots of attention. And then it discovered that there were plates with some partially eaten food on them. And so the dog took the plate and carried it outside and ate the food and then brought the plate back in again.
So we said our vows, and we were all very solemn and serious. And she did the vows first and put the ring on my finger. And then I did my vows, and I tried to put the ring on her finger, and I couldn't get it on. And I was fumbling, and I'm trying to get the ring on her finger, and then she starts helping me. And everybody just burst out laughing because it was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. But it turned out to be a really funny moment, so it was all worth it. It was all worth it. I remember after the ceremony, there was a round of applause. People got up and started cheering. It was like, is this a wedding? It's kind of weird. And then after that, we had a big party in the other area of the site. And we had, it was July, so we had slushy drinks. We had a caricature artist. We had, what else did we have? Oh, we had somebody going around doing magic tricks. It wasn't your typical wedding, but we thought, there was no handbook for lesbian weddings at that point. I was in my own community. I was with the people I love. I was with the person I love. Couldn't have asked for a better day.
When you first told, your friends and relatives that you were together, were there any surprises there?
The people closest to us weren't surprised at all. They weren't surprised at all because they could see it coming. They knew once Lisa became disentangled that something was going to happen. So I don't think anybody was surprised. My dad was not impressed. He disowned me at that point, sadly. I think he'd disowned me a few years previous, to be honest, but I think the wedding kind of pushed him over the edge. But anyway, I was willing to give up my family for Lisa.
We used to go up to my brother-in-law's cottage, and we'd stay over. And of course, we had a bedroom. We were sleeping together. And for some unknown reason, my sister didn't seem to comprehend the relationship we were in. So finally, one of our mutual friends, said to her, well, don't you realize what's going on? I thought, we're in your cottage. We go to bed together. Can't you figure that one out? And this is one of them that I'm reluctant to even tell that we are married. I mean, she couldn't even accept or see the fact that we were together at that point. And that was long before we were married.
What Anne's mom said to me was, we were visiting her parents in Kingston, and we gave them invitations as well. And what she said is, Elaine, I don't agree what you're doing, but you make Anne happy.
When I finally screwed up my courage, because I had never come out to my mother, and she knew Rochelle, and she knew that Rochelle was a big part of my life and that we were friends. And my mom had Alzheimer's, and so I didn't really know what to expect, but she always sort of seemed to know who I was, and that, which was great. And we flirt, absolute flirt. No one's paying enough attention to you, right? And so I took my mom out to coffee, and I said to her, Rochelle isn't just my friend. And my mother had had cataract surgeries and what was the thing?
Corneal
transplants and that. And she said, I may be blind, but I'm not blind. And I just thought that was such a lovely way of putting me off the hook.
Actually, we didn't tell our relatives that we were getting married. We just did it.
The only ones that knew were friends.
Yeah, not relatives.
No relatives.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it was a concealed.
Yeah, it was.
Concealed from family members.
I remember after we got married, we went to the United States for our honeymoon.
Yeah.
Big mistake. So anyway, we went to the United States for our honeymoon, and it was 2 days after our wedding, and we went up to customs, and together, going into the States, and they said, and who are you, are you sisters? We get sisters a lot. Are you sisters, sort of thing. And you go, no, actually, that's an interesting question. I said, we're legally married. We were married and he said, the United States does not recognize that relationship. You have to stand back. So I had to stand back and let Rochelle clear customs, and then I was allowed to come into the United States as a single person, even though I'd been legally married in Ontario.
You really notice a difference when you travel through the States. And I mean, it's only across the border, but my God, is it different down there. And that's worth knowing, because I remember going down there lots of times, and being told that, being asked too many questions. A case in point at one of the hotels that we stayed at. And they called for the manager, and he said, he made it perfectly clear, and I'll quote him, and he said to me, whether you're married or not, we don't hold with that sort of thing. And he said it loud enough that everyone heard. And he made me feel ashamed and embarrassed.
So Rochelle and I were with my mother, and we were in the emerge, and the doctor comes in, and he assumes that we are sisters. I don't correct him, and because I don't want them to throw Rochelle out. I needed her support.
Yeah.
And my mother loved Rochelle, and so they were trying to determine how aware she was of what was going on around her. And so they said, and do you know who this woman is? And she said, yes, that's my daughter Barb. And then my heart almost stopped. I went, oh my God, they're going to ask, who is this woman? Which is exactly what had happened. And my mother, bless her, said, she's our precious angel. And I just went, right on, Mom. You said the right thing. And he went, okay. Like he accepted that she was the daughter, right?
We were together for 20 years before Sherry, before dementia and cancer took her life. I remember getting the phone call the next morning. And I knew as soon as the phone rang, I knew she had died. You know, it was. And I look up at her picture every night, or look up there and every night, and I say, I still love you.
I mean, some people say, well, it's a certificate. You don't need to have a certificate to validate your love. Well, if you're heterosexual, you sure in the hell don't. But if you're gay, you do, because you're not seen at that same level plane. Gay love has never been equal to heterosexual love, and now it is. At least legally, nobody can say they can't say that I was not married. And that became important. When Charles got sick, we're only talking a year and a half ago. Do you know that some of the hospitals still didn't see me as legal spouse, or certainly didn't give me the same rights? I had opposition. I couldn't go visit him in the emergency. They wouldn't let me through. Now, I could have screamed and hollered and probably created a scene, but you don't do that when your partner is very ill.
You know, it never even occurred to me that I could lose her. That was the sad part. I just thought we would be together forever. And sadly, on November 25th, 2018, she had a massive heart attack and passed away. And I didn't see that coming at all.
Getting married was nice. That's what I miss the most. Now that Charles is gone, I miss that I can't say I'm married.
I think the more people see how it's really no different. Like, I mean, even our story, we met at a dance. How many people say, I met my husband at a dance? It's just no different, you know, in a lot of respects. So to not have that right was very keenly felt.
Yeah.
I am extremely happy to have had 16 years married, but 20 years together.
I wasn't sure that it was going to happen in my lifetime. That sounds crazy, but I didn't know how things were going to go. So it's amazing that it did happen the way it did. And it was because of the hard work and the sacrifices.
For me, because like all that publicity and all being in front of the camera all the time was hard. Yes. I mean, I'm an introvert, so it's like, blah. But knowing it made a difference for so many other people. So about a year later, a fellow from Russia came to the church service, and so we got to meet him afterwards. And he said, because he saw it on the news on his computer, on the other side of the world, he didn't kill himself.
Yeah.
It gave him some hope that there was worth continuing. It's like, okay, this is why we did it.
This is why we did it.
It gives everybody hope.
Yeah. Yeah. And every time another country or a state in the U.S. sanctions same-sex marriage, I always say, look what we did. Look what we did. We did that.
We helped it.
We helped.
We've become an old married couple like any other old married couple.
Yeah, we got boring. That was a big secret in, like, I don't think the straight world knew secretly that lots of gay people are really dull, and maybe same-sex marriage kind of brought that out. Like, yeah, we both get up in the morning, we go to work, we pay taxes, lots of our friends raise children, we raise a cat. We're just like the boring old straight couples. It's kind of sad.
We like to think we're glamorous, but I kind of
so aren't.
think that we're not really.
We're kind of dull, but that's okay. We've earned it.
No, we're still happy.
Yeah. And our families are amazing. We've got 100% support from both sides of our family. And I call her mom now. She's my second mom. We talk to each other.
Yeah.
And if Aunt's got a tone of voice when I know I'm in trouble.
Marriage is hard work, but it's worth it.
Oh yeah. We're not the same people we were 22 years ago. We've gone through so many changes.
Yeah.
Like the love is a lot stronger and deeper. And like we've buried my mom and my dad since we've been married. And we've lost a lot of friends over the years. We've had ups and downs, because life happens. Life shows up. But the thing is we lean on each other when that happens. Like she's my rock, and she keeps me grounded. Yeah.
When you marry the person that is your soulmate and is the love of your life, and so I can't imagine not have taking the plunge with you, but it's a leap of faith. I think when
Yes.
people get married.
And I thank your ex-husband every day.
I know. Ursula says she thanks him every day that he's gone. But I think that, for me, when I met someone that I wanted to spend my time with, I wanted to spend my time with them. I didn't want to spend my time working all the time. And I think that's what the difference is,
You get the right one. Makes all the difference in the world. Yeah. And she definitely was the right one.
Is there anything you'd like us to know about Charles?
Oh. You're going to make me cry. I mean, nobody's perfect. And, in 50 years, we might have had 2 fights. We could disagree, but we never disagreed to the point where it got serious. Because we were totally different in terms of personalities. He was your typical Aquarian, and I'm typical Capricorn. Now, we shouldn't mix. We shouldn't be able to mix. Everything you read about zodiac, our signs don't mix. But, the old cliche, opposites attract, and I think that's the thing. We were very different in our outlooks. We gave ourselves space. Very family orientated. I mean, because his relationship with his mother, because of the father dying so young. Stubborn. If he had got something in his mind, give up, you're not going to win. He'll do it. Oh, determined in that sense. He always treated people with respect. If he'd meet you for the two of you for the first time, he would take you at face value, no judgment. And the funny thing is, even if you didn't socialize with him, 5 years down the road, if he met you again, he'd tell you something that he remembered of you, which would probably floor you. But that's the kind of mind he had. And the respect of people. He really respected people. Nobody's perfect, but yes, I was very lucky to have him for 50 years. And yet, he died young.
I'm still married to my wife. I still consider myself married. I don't know if I'll ever find somebody else, but I know I never say never in this world because it's so unpredictable. I still miss her every day. I think about her every day. I wouldn't ever want to leave this house because she is such a big part of this house still. So I keep her wedding rings in a little cup here. So, like I said, I made her a wedding ring similar to mine. Or engagement ring, I guess. And then this was her mom's wedding ring and my mom's wedding ring.
That's beautiful.
Isn't that crazy how close they were? She hangs out over there mostly, actually. And I know that because all of a sudden he'll lift his head and look over there, and it's always like where the coats are. So in my mind, I think that's where she is, looking after us and looking out for us. And then I got the purple heart there. Her favorite color was purple. And we're not religious people. We don't believe in God. But a friend put it in such a way that I could understand it, I guess. It's like the bat signal. Lisa can see that and know that we're thinking of her.
You can find your soulmate.
I think we're a happy couple.
Yeah.
I think we're a loving couple. I love you.
Yes,
I
my
love the
friend.
bones off you. Honest to God, I do. Yeah.
Most of the time.
Not all the time.
No.
You are so bad. You are so bad.
I'm sorry.
You can't trust a woman after all these years. You would think.
Hey.
You want a treat? Of course you want a treat. Of course you want a treat. You want a twirl? Other way. He's not much for tricks.
You pull enough funny faces for both of us.
Me, Pa? Good girl. Good girl. I'll give you a treat for that.
This is our son, Pumpkin. Our little boy, Pumpkin.
He's gonna fall asleep.
And then, here we are in Tux.
So it was, Lisa loves Colleen. So it was a constant battle. So I'd show up and I'd go, no, Colleen loves Lisa. And we go back and forth. But the very last time it was changed was, Lisa changed it. And it was like that. So it's going to stay like that. Lisa loves Colleen.